Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to night number 67 of the overnight feed recaps for Big Brother season 26. All right, we didn't have a lot of conversations yesterday, but we had some long conversations. I sit here and look at my notes and think, how am I even going to cover all of this? So, with that in mind, let me just give y'all a quick summary, and then we'll get into some of the live feed discussions. Okay, so first of all, as a summary, we had the veto yesterday. As expected, McKenzie used the veto on Chemo, pulled him off, put up Leah, so that now we have Leah and Angela on the block together. One of them will be heading out the door on Thursday, unless we've got some kind of strange Big Brother twist. And as second part of the summary, we've got Angela and Leah on the block. We do have some kind of twist. The house guest spent some time listening to different messages from AI Julie coming across, something talking about lost jurors. And I don't know if that has to do with maybe a battle back. We don't know, but she mentioned the jurors were missing. They found a lock of Quinn's hair. So we'll see if that turns into anything else. The other little summary is we did have McKenzie starting to maybe question the actions that took place, the veto ceremony, questioning whether she truly should have put up Leah the way she did, and wondering if maybe people got in her head a little bit. And then finally, we had a long conversation between Chelsea and Leah, hashing a lot of this stuff out. So there you go as a quick summary. Leah and Angela on the block. One of them should be evicted on Thursday. The other one very well could be heading out the door right behind them. And then a weird little twist. All right, let's talk a little bit more now about the veto ceremony and then the live feeds themselves. I think it may have been Rubina that mentioned that during the veto ceremony, Leah apparently maybe ripped off her microphone and walked out of the veto ceremony when her name was announced. They're saying no one else does that. No one else handles it that way. And thinking, yeah, that was just kind of typical Leah and all that. We obviously didn't get to see the veto ceremony, so don't know for certain just how accurate that description is. I am looking forward to seeing Wednesday's episode. Certainly, I think Angela was blindsided that the veto was used, but not on her. And then Leah absolutely blindsided that she got put up. And so, yeah, a lot of repercussions going on with that. All right, let's talk about the feeds themselves and what happened after the veto meeting. Well, as soon as the meeting was over, we get Leah in the diary room for a while. Eventually, she's in the back unicorn room by herself, upset, laying there, tears in her eyes, but mainly just laying there, not doing anything, just very much trying to console herself, I suppose. Angela does come in a couple of times, try to console Leah and saying, I'm sick to my stomach. I feel horrible about this, doing what she can. But both of them are in shock at the way this has turned out. Leah is talking about everything. She's saying, these morons, they blindsided me. She's saying, I should have gone after Chelsea last week. I should have done what I wanted to do, but I didn't. And now I'm paying the price. And how dare they? Very upset at the rest of the house. Meanwhile, up in the HOH room, McKenzie is up there with everyone else in the house, all trying to console McKenzie as McKenzie explains why she did what she did, why she feels like she was justified in putting up Leah. She doesn't really have to worry about it because everyone else in the house wanted her to put up Leah. The only people who didn't were Angela and Leah. So yeah, she's trying to explain everything away, and everyone's giving her the proper, oh, you did what you had to do, and we're so proud of you, and it was you were such a bold move, and on and on and on. We'll see. Again, just a few hours later, McKenzie starting to doubt. Come Thursday, she may really be doubting the actions that she took place this afternoon. All right, we've got Angela and McKenzie talking a little bit, a rehash. McKenzie, Leah doesn't want to talk to anyone right now, so she's kind of out of the picture of this moment. But we do have McKenzie and Angela talking. McKenzie trying to explain herself to Angela why she did what she did. Angela is telling Leah, saying, look, Leah's had your back since the very beginning, and that she never, all these things, McKenzie's saying, oh, she said this to me, she said this to me, and Angela said, well, she never said those kind of things to me. She never said to me that you were saying any of that stuff, McKenzie, or she was never saying any of that stuff about you. And McKenzie's saying, well, I heard it from a lot of people, even some of the showman stuff with, I don't remember if her and Matt or alleged her and Cam. She's saying, Leah told me directly. It's not even as though I heard it from third parties. She told me directly. And Angela is responding with a bunch of wow. So, wow, I did. She never told me that. I don't know, didn't know that. So Angela certainly to some degree trying to distance herself from Leah right now, but also really trying to line up McKenzie or explain to McKenzie that maybe Leah isn't really the big bad wolf that McKenzie thinks that she is, that she hasn't told Angela all of these things that McKenzie is saying have been said. McKenzie is telling Angela that when she talks to Leah, things don't add up. That she hears different things, different times, and things just don't always add up. At one point, Leah says she wants to work with McKenzie and Chelsea, and then she turns right around and says that she wants to go after Chelsea, and things just don't add up. The conversations with Leah are never the same when she has them with her. She's saying that Leah tried to make a final two with Chelsea just last week, and Angela's like, I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that at all. So she's mentioning that. She's saying that Leah apparently had told Chelsea that McKenzie was a threat that had to go. Now, apparently that was a month ago, which is forever time in Big Brother. There was a lot of conversations now and later in the evening, a lot of people rehashing stuff that happened a long time ago and trying to use that to justify or question relationships and loyalties now. Well, things are so fluid in the Big Brother house. I think that's a huge flaw. Now, if you're saying that just as a way to justify that you just wanted the person gone, so be it. But to legitimately say that, oh, because you did something 6 weeks ago, I now am going to do something differently. I think that's a little bit tough. But she's saying, yeah, Chelsea or Leah said that I was a threat, told Chelsea that I was a threat. And I needed to go. So yeah, I'm not real happy with Leah right now. She's saying that Leah was supposed to go home 2 weeks ago, and the only reason she did was because McKenzie saved her. McKenzie's saying, I saved her rear end, and how does she pay me back? By saying I'm a threat and saying that I need to be targeted and all of that. So she's trying to explain all of this stuff to Angela. All right, at one point, McKenzie made chocolate chip cookies for Leah. Leah really not in a friendship cookie kind of mode. Now, McKenzie says, oh, I told her beforehand I was going to do it. If I'm Leah and someone who has just blindsided me, put me on the block, betrayed me, betrayed trust and all that, if she's now bringing me cookies, I think McKenzie ought to be happy the cookies are still on the plate, is all I'm saying. That may not be the friendship gesture that I would be most appreciative of. Few days later, maybe a few hours later, perhaps, but not right after the fact. That was, Leah handled it well to just kind of ignore the cookies. Now later she did eat one, but So McKenzie trying to smooth things over with Leah, and I don't know if it's because jury management, because she just feels bad that she did blindside Leah. She sees how bad Leah's hurting. I have a feeling it's both, and it is hard. You hate to see people suffering in that house, even when you think you're justified. And I'm not sure McKenzie is 100% sold that she's completely justified. I think McKenzie, as she tells Angela this and other people, I really think she's trying to explain it and justify it to herself as much as to anyone else. I think she's really feeling that it was an iffy call to make. All right, let's talk about that new twist, which I mentioned a little while ago. The house guests were getting multiple messages from artificial intelligence Julie. At one point, I think it's McKenzie who said, Julie's part of this twist. She wasn't, she was gone last week. We didn't see her this week. Something's going on. And then there's talk that, could she have left the show? Just a bunch of paranoia that you get in the house. But AI Julie showed up, talked about Ainsley being a danger to the house. One message talked about missing jurors, which has caused the house guests and us live feeders to wonder if there's some kind of battle back brewing. As they say, the math isn't mathing necessarily on that. Could there be a battle back? Yeah, I suppose. You could have Quinn and T-Core and the two evictees on Thursday. That's 4 people. You could immediately have them battle back to get someone back in the house. And I suppose that would work. The two things that make me wonder a little bit about that, one is that now suddenly you still have 6 house guests after Thursday, and you only have a few weeks left. That seems like a lot of house guests left in this house right now. The other thing is we did not see, if I recall, goodbye messages to either juror. So maybe that's the indication that they are somehow still involved in this game. But if I recall, we did hear who voted to vote out different people, the Quinn and T-Core, didn't we? I thought we did, which I would not think they would reveal if there was a chance they're coming back into the game. So I don't know. It could be there's a battle back, but it just seems like a lot of people left. Now, if you have a battle back, it makes it a little bit easier to have the slip and slide as an HOH comp, because now suddenly you've got 5 people instead of 6, and that seems to be a little bit better number. But it also could just be that this is all a buildup to some new twist story that's going to be taking place with the competitions on Thursday. That the missing jurors are somehow going to come into a question and answer type comp for the HOH or for the veto, things like that. It may have zero to do with the battle back. I kind of think if it was a battle back, Julie may have hinted it to us on last Thursday's show, and she didn't. So I'm betting there's not a battle back, but it certainly has a lot of people talking. Now, here's the question. Does the possibility of a battle back somehow affect this upcoming vote, or the way that people treat Leah between now and the vote itself? If there is suddenly a possibility that Leah could leave and come right back into the house, do people have to be just a little bit friendlier to her just in case she survives? Because otherwise it seems like it's a foregone conclusion that she's heading out the door and all of that. Now, you still have jury management, but it does make me wonder if it changes the way people are going to handle the next few days. If they think there's a possibility that Leah or T-Core, that someone, Quinn, could come back inside this house. We'll see. All right, let's start off with a conversation between Chelsea and McKenzie taking place. This is McKenzie hoping that she gets a chance to talk to Leah, that when she does, that Leah will understand. Chelsea is saying Leah's not going to understand because Leah doesn't think that she should ever have been put on the block. She's going to be upset. She's saying Rabina could put her on the block. Chemo could put her on the block. Anyone putting Leah on the block would have her all upset with her. She won't understand because it's not what you did, McKenzie. It's just the fact that she's on the block, and that's just the way it is. So yeah, she's feeling like Leah's just upset about the situation and not necessarily the way it went down. All right, we've got Leah and Angela talking a little bit more as Angela tries to console Leah. They're holding out hope that these videos they've been playing, that somehow there could be a little bit of a twist that could save them both as a result. That somehow they could both survive, and may, who knows? You hold out the tiniest sliver of hope when you're on the block sometimes. Leah's upset that the people that she was protecting the most last week are now gunning for her this week. Welcome to Big Brother, Leah, where loyalties and relationships can pivot on a dime. She's saying, how does she campaign to them? How does she go to these people that she was trying to protect that have so betrayed her and somehow ask them to vote to save her, especially when it's against Angela? She tells Angela at one point, saying, hell hath no fury like a scorned juror. Chalk it up to one more bitter juror that's going to be casting a vote this season, I do believe. She says that later, I think, to Chelsea as well, or to McKenzie. So yeah, I think Leah may be looking at personal relationships and how she was treated in the house very much when it comes down to a jury vote. All right, we've got Leah and Chemo talking. Leah saying, so she finally starts talking. Now, one thing with these messages that were taking place, Leah was off on her own, not talking to anyone. Once the messages start playing in the living room, she was forced to come out and start interacting with some of the people a little bit. So that's helped get her back in amongst the group. And one of the first people she talks to besides Angela is Chemo. Leah's saying that she doesn't want to talk to anyone else right now. It feels like her fate is already decided, that this was a very calculated move. So what's the point? She's saying, I know I need to be positive. This isn't being positive, but I don't even want to talk to anyone else because I don't know what's going to do any good. And why should I talk to anyone? I get where you're coming from, Leah. Angela made spaghetti dinner for everyone. Everyone seemed very appreciative. No one griped about taking too long to fix or being too heavy or anything else. Everyone liked Angela's spaghetti. So yeah, and Angela does cook. Not very often, but she did cook a meal and everyone appreciated that. All right, let's talk about some of these incredibly long conversations we had, 2 in particular. Leah and McKenzie, they're going to hash things out, sort of, kind of, maybe. McKenzie saying, look, Leah, a lot of people brought things to me about you that really got me confused about where your head's at. A whole lot of different things that you had said, and it's just very, very confusing. I don't know what's going on with you right now. She's saying, such as, Leah, you apparently talked to Chelsea about me and Cam having some kind of fun little showmance, or some potentially having a showmance. That wasn't so cool. Leah's saying, look, I'll let you finish talking. She says, but Chelsea actually brought that up to me, not the other way around. McKenzie is saying that Leah had said that her relationship with Chelsea was threatening, and that Leah really was regretting that she should have made a bigger move last week. That she had heard that Leah, if she had it to, that Leah would have voted McKenzie out over Tucker or Angela if either one of them had been on the block against McKenzie. If BBA Arena hadn't worked the way it had, that Leah would have been perfectly happy to vote out McKenzie against either one of those. Leah's denying this, saying, yeah, not true. No, not true with all of this stuff that you're saying. McKenzie is countering that Leah has said different things to different people. And as a result, she just had no clue where Leah's head was as a result. Leah is saying that she really wishes McKenzie had brought this to her before the veto ceremony, so that she could maybe debunk it and explain it and talk about it. She said, all you had to do is come to me. I would have told you if something was true, if it wasn't true, if people were taken out of context. She said, all you had to do was come and talk to me. Instead, you just relied on other people telling you things that you yourself are saying may or may not be true. McKenzie said that several times to different people, saying, I don't know if all of this is true or not, but just the fact that there is that kind of confusion makes me question Leah and all that. Leah said, all you had to do is come to me and ask, and I would have been outright with you and told you exactly what was going on and on. And you didn't do that. Instead, you relied on other people. So she's wishing she'd brought it to her ahead of time. McKenzie is now saying that Leah has said that that McKenzie wasn't compatible. Going all the way back to Matt in week number 1 or 2. McKenzie saying, look, I also heard that you said that I wasn't really compatible with Matt, and that you were much more compatible with him, and that's why he talked to you more than he did me sometimes, and that you were just trying to kind of take ownership of all of that and all that. And she's saying, then after Matt was gone, you just dropped me. Suddenly you were trying to distance yourself from me, and not really wanting to have anything to do with me. And she does eventually say that Rabina was the one who told her about, theoretically, Leah saying that she was closer to Matt than McKenzie was and all that. Leah's denying this, saying, no, I didn't say that. Rabina may have said I said, but I did not say that at all. And as far as distancing herself, I don't know if Leah said anything, but it's week 1 or 2. You really shouldn't hold against someone if one of your type people goes off the block or goes home. Yeah, you back off a little bit. That's not the end of the world, but whatever. McKenzie grasping at straws a little bit if she's got to go all the way back to week number 1 to justify what she did. So Leah eventually, she's denying that. Eventually Leah says, look, I'm not mad at you, McKenzie. I'm just incredibly disappointed because you are one of the very few people in this house who I actually trusted to work with to make things happen. She's saying, yeah, I was close with Angela. She said, I thought Angela would benefit both of us. I thought Angela would be a potential jury vote. She would help us in the house and all that. She said, so sure, I was working with Angela, but you're the one I wanted to work with, McKenzie, and you just threw it all away. And I'm very disappointed because of that. McKenzie's saying it was a hard move to do. She didn't want to do it, but she really felt like if she didn't do it, people would come after her if she didn't go after Leah. So she's saying, people are going to come after my throat if I didn't do it. That McKenzie was basically choosing at the end to operate out of a certain level of fear in doing that. And Leah says, well, I get it, but they're going to be coming after your throat anyway. Don't think just because you did this that people are going to leave you alone. No, you're going to be next. They're still going to be coming after you. It's just, I'm going home now. And then you'll be coming home as well. Cause she's saying at one point, she says, look, you're 2 number 1s. Angela said she'd do anything for us. She's on the block. I wanted to work with you. I would have had your back all the way. I'm on the block. She said, no matter what, you got two number one sitting on the block, McKenzie, because of what you did. Let's see. Leah's saying that she didn't come after Chelsea or McKenzie last week, and that everyone is trash talking her. And why would she trash talk McKenzie when she's saying that everyone, and she's talking about Rubina and Chemo mainly, is trash talking her? And why would she go to Rubina and Chemo and trash talk McKenzie when she barely even hangs out with those people? She said, I don't talk game with them. I never promised them anything. You're the one I was working with. Why, even if I thought that about you, McKenzie, why would I be telling them that kind of stuff? She said, I didn't say that. I didn't trash talk you. It's just them saying that I was doing it, but I wasn't doing it, McKenzie. McKenzie is saying that even Angela had said that Leah had feared that McKenzie would gravitate towards Chelsea and Cam. And Leah saying, well, that wasn't about you. That was maybe a little fear about them, but yeah, I wasn't anything about you. I wanted to work with you, and therefore I was worried that you would be trying to work with them more than me. It has nothing to do with you, McKenzie. She's saying that I wanted to work with Angela because she had her backs, as I mentioned before. McKenzie, at this point, you can see the wheel starting to spin a little bit. And McKenzie's saying, look, nothing is set in stone yet. Yeah, you're on the block, but nothing's set in stone. And Leah, you need to talk to Chelsea, and I'll be happy to sit in on as well. So y'all can hash this stuff out and figure out, she said, and all of that. So she's making the offer, and Leah's saying, well, that's great. But either way, your two number ones are still on the block this week, McKenzie. McKenzie eventually says, well, you know what? A lot of people got in my head this week. She said, literally the whole house probably got in my head. She does seem to be putting a lot more blame on Chemo and Rubina throughout this conversation than on Chelsea. A little bit of deflection going on there. A lot more blame of Rubina and Chemo saying things and blaming Leah on this, and this. Leah's saying, here's the deal, McKenzie. Chelsea got you to do her dirty work. You did what she wanted to do. That's been taking place for the last few weeks. And McKenzie says, yeah, probably so. So I think she's beginning to see the light a little bit. They both seem to be recognizing that maybe Chelsea has been leading this game for the past few weeks a little bit more than they had anticipated. So yeah, unfortunately, it's too late. The veto ceremony is over, but it does seem like it's starting to dawn on them that Chelsea's got a lot of influence in this game. All right, now here's the thing. Even if that's the case, at this point in time, McKenzie's kind of locked in with Chelsea, right? I mean, yeah, you got to be careful at this point in time. The decision's done. If it comes down to a tiebreaker vote, then McKenzie still has some power. But beyond that, she can't compete for HOH next week. You certainly can't be in there calling out Chelsea too much or any of that, because you could be right out the door behind Leah. You may be anyway, but it doesn't help your cause any. So even if Chelsea maybe is starting to, even if McKenzie's starting to regret some of her action a little bit with the veto and all that, she still has to kind of ride with Cam and Chelsea, at least for now, in my opinion. All right. She had mentioned trying to get Leah and Chelsea together to talk. Well, they do that very thing. She goes down, she gets Chelsea, McKenzie gets Chelsea, brings her back up. Leah starts off as a little bit of a moderator. Eventually, she kind of backs off. She's up there listening, but she backs off a little bit. But McKenzie's saying, look, I just wanted to get y'all two together so y'all could clear things up. It sounds like some communications were a little lacking, that maybe y'all can talk about some things together. And then McKenzie backs off after that. A lot in this conversation. So I'm going to try to highlight as best I can. God, they talk forever. And especially Leah tends to, she's a little bit like Kylan from a few seasons back. What could probably be said in 10 words actually takes 100 words to get to. So yeah, it was a long conversation, but again, trying to hit the highlights here. Leah saying that she voted out T-Core last week to show Chelsea and McKenzie that she had their back. It was done in part just to show them that they had her loyalty with this. And that, yes, she was worried about Chelsea, and, Chelsea has a lot of power in the house and all that. But that's why she didn't go after her last week. She's saying, I've said that I thought you were pretty strong in the house, and that's why I didn't go after you last week. That's why I went after T-Core, to show that you could trust me, that we could work together. It was intentionally done. It wasn't because T-Core was the biggest target or anything. I did it because I thought it would help build a relationship between the two of us. She's saying that Chemo came to her and asked her why she was targeting his group when there was a bigger target out there. In other words, she's making sure that Chelsea realizes that Chemo was trying to throw Chelsea and Cam and McKenzie, I suppose, under the bus by saying, why are you going after us? There's other people you could go after with. She's saying, even with that, I still went after them, Chelsea, and not with you. Leah's saying that Chemo has been using her words to make it look like she was targeting people that he actually wanted targeted. That's who he wanted out, and not her. That she has never told Chemo and Rubina that she has their back, any kind of group working together, or anything. She said, I never told either one of them that. I've told you all that. I haven't told them that. She's saying that she's never lied on a vote or flipped on a vote, that she has always told McKenzie and Chelsea how she was going to vote, that she's always been very upfront with them. And to do all of that and then be accused of lying and double dealing and all that just really hurts her, that she's tried to be so upfront with them, and it just doesn't seem like they've recognized that. She says that she told McKenzie and Chelsea, who she's voting for every time we talk about that. She's saying that anything she said about Cam and MJ being a showmance, she's saying that was just a joke. It was just a joke. I'm just laughing about it. I didn't know anyone was hurt or offended by anything else. She said, Chelsea, I told you that Cam was in love with you, right? So, if I'm trying to drive a wedge or anything, why would I tell you that? This stuff about Cam and McKenzie, I just be joking around, just having fun in the house. I didn't mean anything by that. She's saying that, Chelsea's coming back saying that she was HOH twice and didn't put Leah up. And even with her not putting Leah up both times, that she then heard last week that Leah was now saying that Chelsea was a threat. And so that really bugged her a little bit as well. And then she says, and then suddenly Angela is saying the same things, that I'm this huge threat. She says, Angela didn't just come up with that out of thin air. She came up with it, I think, because you were saying it and passing that on to Angela. And so, that's kind of bothering me a little bit here, Leah. She's saying that several people came to her last week saying Leah she wasn't targeting Chelsea only because she realized that she didn't have the votes to get Chelsea out the door. She said, it didn't have anything to do with loyalty or anything else. You just didn't have the votes to get me out, or else I probably would have been on the block. And she said, that's what I heard from other people, and other people being either Rubina or Chemo or just Chelsea herself, and she doesn't want to say that. But anyway, she's saying, it's if you had the vote, you may have done it, Leah, but you didn't, so you didn't. Leah's saying that even Tikor tried to get her to break her promise to Cam. She's saying, if I wanted to go after you and your group, Chelsea, she said, Tikor was begging me to break my promise to go after y'all. She said, I could have easily done it. She said, I didn't. She said, as far as not having the votes, Tikor's begging me. Tikor, Chemo, Rubina, all. She said, I could have had the votes if I wanted, but I didn't want it, and that's just not the way I wanted it to go last week. I wanted to prove my loyalty to her, to you. Chelsea is talking about Leah maybe saying something about Chelsea had a final two with Tikor, and Chelsea saying, look, I did not have a final two with Tikor. I promised I'd never touch her, but I didn't have a final two with her. It's a kind of a fine line between those two, right? Promise I'll never vote you out. I never put you up or anything else, but we don't have a final two. Okay, it's kind of iffy there. But anyway, she said, you said I had final two. I never had final two with Tikor. Chelsea's complaining that Leah was telling different people different things last week, and Leah's responding saying, look, it was janky world. I couldn't have a huge group to talk to. So she said, of course, I'm having to talk to people one-on-one. And she said, as I'm talking to people one-on-one, especially when I'm talking to Tikor and Rubina and Chemo, I'm trying to get information from them. Sure, I'm going to tell them things to try to get information from them. That doesn't mean it doesn't mean that that's the case. It just means that I'm trying to get information from them. That makes perfect sense to me. I understand. You sometimes tell people in conversations inside that house things that may or may not be true to try to get some information back from them. And Leah's saying, that's what I was doing. It was janky world. It was janky world. You're calling me out on that as well. So they've got that. She's trying to get information from other groups. Leah's saying that or Chelsea's saying that she just keeps wondering what she needs to do, what she could have done to get Leah to realize that Chelsea really wanted to work with her. In other words, it's your fault, Leah. I wanted to work with you. I sure as heck wanted to work with you, but I couldn't prove anything more than possible. Now, at one point, Chelsea says something about action speaks so much louder than words, and it's what you do and not what you say that make the difference in this game and all that, which is a little bit, well, a lot ironic considering that everything they're using to justify going after Leah is not based on actions, because Leah has not in action gone after Chelsea. Her HOH, she didn't go after Chelsea. Action-wise, there's nothing they can point at that Chelsea has done. Word-wise, yeah, maybe you can point to a few things, but as much as Chelsea's saying actions speak louder than words, when it comes time to go after Leah, it's kind of just the opposite. It's all about rumors and innuendos and conversations that may or may not have taken place. Here's the end of this. This is all just made up stuff, just people trying to throw out reasons to justify the core reason that we wanted you gone, Leah, because you're a powerful player and we thought that maybe you'd come after us later. Not because anything you did or said or anything else, but just because, we're trying to win the game of Big Brother. But you can't say it that simple. You got to come up with 101 different reasons instead. All right. Chelsea's saying that, talking about trying to figure out what she could do to make Leah realize she wanted to work with her. Leah is somehow blaming Quinn. Quinn comes up saying, Quinn wanted to do that. I think maybe that Quinn was saying, don't talk as much to Chelsea or something. Isolate yourself a little bit. I can't even keep up with that part. But somehow Quinn comes on the conversation, and Leah's saying that was Quinn's doing for that. Chelsea is saying that Quinn and Joseph knew more about her game, Leah's game, than Chelsea, McKenzie, and Cam. And she's saying, if you truly wanted to work with us as the primary group, then how come Quinn and Joseph knew so much more about your game than anyone else? And that just doesn't make sense. And Leah's saying, well, no, yes, I was close to them. They were working, they were supporting me. They had my back. Yeah, sure. But that doesn't mean I didn't want to work with you. Leah or Chelsea at one point is saying, if you want, there's talk about Quinn going home, and Leah saying that she wanted to keep Quinn. And Chelsea's saying, if you really wanted to work with McKenzie and Cam and myself, you should have told us that you wanted to keep Quinn, but you didn't. You kept it a secret. And Leah's saying, well, I thought it was pretty obvious that I wanted to keep Quinn that week. I thought it was very obvious that I wanted to keep Quinn that week. And Chelsea said, well, yeah, maybe it was, but you never actually came to us and told us. You never had the conversation that would have helped solidify something. Yeah, picky there with the conversation. Leah is saying it was obvious. Chelsea's saying you should have come to us anyway. Chelsea is complaining that Leah keeps saying that she wasn't working with anyone, that she hasn't been working with anyone, and that Leah is making fun of all the alliances in the house. And Leah saying, I didn't realize that being a lone wolf, being by myself, was threatening to the alliances or anyone else. Chelsea is saying that if Leah is worried about game talk, come talk to her about it. She's saying, if you're worried about me, as a threat or what, come talk to me about it. It's kind of saying the same thing that Leah had said to McKenzie earlier. Just come talk to me about it. Chelsea's saying that outside the house, they can still be friends. That it's not anything personal. They can still be friends, which Leah takes to mean that inside of the house, they aren't necessarily going to be playing the game of Big Brother together. Leah's not sure how to go against Angela and how to deal with being on the block. But she is saying that trust between her and Chelsea should still be possible. She hopes, she thinks it should be. I'm not sure that's necessarily the case, but she's trying to put her best foot forward. Eventually, we've got, throughout the conversation, but eventually towards the end, Leah's apologizing to Chelsea. She did a lot of apologizing, saying she's apologizing that she didn't convey more info directly to Chelsea, that she made assumptions about what Chelsea knew or thought or assumed. And that really she should have conveyed more information to Chelsea. She's saying, look, I'm just the kind of withdraw when things are going certain ways. And so it wasn't anything against you. I just tend to withdraw, and I apologize I didn't come to you with more information. She said, but she does say at one point, she says, how come I'm the one? All my cards have to be on the table and no one else's. But she's apologizing for that. Leah's saying that Chelsea should have come to her with these concerns as well. It goes both ways here, Chelsea. And Leah, at one point, Leah says, even for the untrue stuff, I apologize that created issues for us. And Chelsea says, you don't need to keep apologizing, which I agree. I thought Chelsea handled it well. Chelsea never got riled up or too emotional. She handled all the questions very well. I thought she addressed it decently. But I also think Leah had some solid points as well. But at the end, she still ends up apologizing to Chelsea. And it very much came off at the end as being kind of a Chelsea's lining Leah up and explaining all the things that she did wrong and why Leah could have done things so much better. There was also a lot of talk in this conversation that was pointing the blame more at Angela and at Chemo and Rubina. Of course, when you've got Chelsea and Leah in the room together, they're pointing fingers at each other. You're trying to resolve it. It's easy just to point those fingers somewhere else. McKenzie's in there as well. So who are you going to blame? Chemo and Rubina. Not to say that they aren't responsible for a lot of stuff, but yeah, they're both trying to deflect a lot of stuff onto Chemo and Rubina at this point in time. Eventually, Chelsea says, a lot of things are a lot more clear now, but hindsight is 2020. In other words, I'm seeing some of your points, but it's after the fact at this point, Leah. Leah's saying, why wouldn't Chemo and Rubina continue to portray Leah in a negative light in order to get ahead in this game? And basically, don't you should understand that when they're trash talking me, maybe it's just because they want to advance further in the game. Like, yes, Chelsea realizes that this is just a very convenient, some of their trash talking, very convenient to bring up with Leah. Chelsea does tell Leah at one point, she says, look, you got all day tomorrow to do damage control. So get out there and talk to the people and all that. Well, we've seen Chelsea talking to cameras before and basically bragging about how she has controlled this, that she's created this whole situation. So as much as she's telling Leah to go out and do damage control and all that, things have worked out exactly the way that Chelsea wants. And I think this as well. If you've got McKenzie now starting to question Chelsea and potentially showing some sympathy to Leah, is that not going to be used by Chelsea as a reason to now turn on McKenzie? McKenzie better be very careful. I think she is in trouble on Thursday. And Leah very well could be eventually saying, well, you were kind of seeming like you were starting to float over to Leah and Angela. And I got to worry about that as well. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out. Meanwhile, while all this this is like 3 hours, 3.5 hours, maybe 4, a long conversation, Leah and Chelsea, and then Leah, Chelsea, and McKenzie. So while all this is going on, we've got everyone else downstairs wondering what in the heck could be going on upstairs. Angela getting very nervous. She's talking to Chemo and Rubina and Cam, so wondering why Leah and Chelsea are talking so long. Obviously worried that there's some kind of deal being made or damage control being done, and that suddenly Angela's going to be back as a primary target. So she's been campaigning while she's down here. She's telling Chemo that she never said someone was a target, that she never tried to put people against each other. Angela said she's not going to campaign against Leah. She's going to campaign for herself. Well, it seems like you may be campaigning against a little bit right here, Angela, but I get it. And you do what you have to do. But she's doing a little campaigning while she's down there. Eventually, these downstairs folks, not always the most passionate strategist in the game of Big Brother. And so sure enough, eventually the concern and those conversations turn to, let's do a new reality show. We'll call it, I think they said Spotlight. New reality show. Let's copyright it. And yeah, a lot of non-strategic talk from this group eventually downstairs. Now, they do eventually say, should we go up there? Do we need, are they going to tell us what went on? Should we go up there and break this up? They never do, but there's talk about going upstairs. Eventually, upstairs does, shut it all down. I think some of the last stuff was talking about going out and doing some damage control and things like that. Eventually, we've got Leah and McKenzie getting ready for bed. Leah is laughing a little bit more. She's laughing as I think she's kind of pushing McKenzie and saying, you put me on the block based on rumors. So she's kind of giving McKenzie a hard time on that. Meanwhile, Chelsea has come downstairs and is talking to Cam and Rubina and Chemo about this conversation. She's saying, they wanted me up there. I went up there because McKenzie specifically requested me to go up there, not out of choice. She said something about I was up there talking to the kids. A little, trying to make sure that they all know that she's on their side. She said, I didn't tell them anything. And, we're all good. Chelsea's saying that Leah said that she had never targeted her, being Chelsea. She said she never targeted me. And Rubina's saying, how could she possibly say that? How can she say it? So they're already picking at Leah's comments a little bit. Chelsea didn't go into a huge amount of details. It basically just assured them that everything's fine with the group and everything's looking good. And with that, everyone finally in bed. McKenzie and Leah are in bed. Eventually, the rest call it a night. I think the last one in bed, Rubina, about 4:30 or so in the morning. So these conversations went all night long. But again, primarily two conversations: Leah and McKenzie, and then Leah and Chelsea. With McKenzie sitting in, we had a lot of diary room sessions in between. Production's having a fit. Well, no, they're having a celebration that they have so much content with everything that happened. So bringing everyone in, long diary room sessions. I think McKenzie said her diary room session was like an hour and a half long. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of content to talk about over the next few episodes of Big Brother. So there you have it, guys. As a final summary, Angela, Leah on the block. It certainly seems like Leah's the target, but maybe that could change, especially if McKenzie continues to have some regrets about what she did. Some kind of new twist that could be battle back, could be just setting us up for a double eviction situation on Thursday. And then Leah and McKenzie seeming to at least smooth down some of the ruffled feathers, and Leah and Chelsea having it out of passive aggressive kind of conversation in some ways, and they're still not going to work with each other, but they're at least talking to each other, right? All right, there you have it, guys. I'll be back tomorrow morning to give you an update, see what the new day brings in this house. Who knows? But I will be back to give you all the details tomorrow morning. Until then, have a fantastic Tuesday. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.